A gun sold by a Florida firearms dealer, Century International Arms. It's among the weapons linked to the Paris attacks that killed 130 people. Well, Century International, they got the gun from Zastava, a gun factory located in Serbia. The serial number matching one of their guns on the M92 semi-automatic pistol, that was delivered back in May of 2013. Well, at least 7 of the weapons used that were discovered at that November 13th attack in Paris have been identified as being produced by a factory located in central Serbia, except for that one gun. The M92, it was linked to a well-known military surplus importer right here in the good old US of A. Nick, what do you make of this?
You know, Century International Arms, that same company is apparently also responsible for a deal worth $130 million with the Guatemalan government. They were selling World War II guns, some rifles from World War II, and it's, you know, that little snippet, plus everything we're learning now about these arms, just shows you how guns spread across the world from originally where they originate to where they end up years, decades later. It's like, it blows my mind. The fact that these weapons used in the Paris attacks start out in Serbia, it was Yugoslavia at the time, right? And then those move throughout Europe, eventually somehow end up in Florida, and then back to Europe decades later. It's just ridiculous.
It's insane. Well, this company, it's a family-owned business, and it's been in this business, the importing of rifles and handguns to foreign countries since the 1970s, making it the single largest importer of firearms in the US and Canada. So they're serious business, and they're doing a lot of international imports. But like you said, these guns, I mean, floating around Eastern Europe specifically, you know, one of them actually had the serial number still attached. They were able to trace it, but the other 7, you know, at what point is there a culpability issue of you're selling guns that were aiding in mass murder?
No, exactly. And, you know, countries see that years later. They see what happens as a result to countries like the U.S., for example, being, you know, the world's gun store, we could say. You know, we sell guns to all over the place. So we see Taliban fighters using American guns that we sold, you know, years ago. So it all ends up in the hands of someone else eventually. Unfortunately, not the people we want it to end up in the hands of.
Well, part of these WikiLeaks cables that were released in 2011, they featured this gun company, and they said that sometimes the facilitation with unauthorized brokers, they were very careful about their language that they used, but sometimes these brokers, they're based, you know, to help with the trading of these pistols and arms. And just the fact that these diplomatic cables made this public because of WikiLeaks taking it and doing it in an unauthorized way, that's how we know about it. I mean, if you really want to look at how the guns are really filtered across the country, taking a look at WikiLeaks, for me, and just researching for this story was a great place to start, because this goes back a long time. This isn't the first account. This company's been mired in a lot of controversy over the years. They've been in business a very long time, and they're one of the largest ones in the U.S. So that makes us, you know, 30-year-old weapons floating around most of Eastern Europe and for decades.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, look at the attacks that just took place in California not long ago. I mean, those guns were legally purchased, and you know, obviously not. I mean, long before the San Bernardino attacks, you know, the issue of guns was something a lot of people are talking about, and that's only that's only gotten more to the front of the debate. But to be honest with you, a lot of people in this country say, well, it's not the guns, you know. The problem is, you know, Muslims coming into this country. The problem is, it is the guns. And we see the Paris attacks, for example, the California attacks. These were American citizens. It's not the refugees that might come here. It's not people of a certain religion that might come here. It is, in my opinion, the guns that are the problem.
Well, case in point, we see an American gun that made its way throughout Eastern Europe into the hands of one of those terrorists, and that makes us, the U.S., the #1 arms dealer in the world.